Some very juicy nuggets from Lex Fridman's latest discussion with Elon Musk on Tesla, AI, FSD/autopilot, and Tesla's humanoid robot.
News, like we found a patch of berries is nice to have, but not essential.
So our old friend, Tesla Autopilot, it's probably one of the most intelligent real-world AI systems in the world.
Now, just for the record, we can definitely ignore everything Lex Fridman says about AI and autopilot, especially claiming that Tesla has some of the most, if not the most advanced real-world AI. Why? Well, it's not like he's an MIT professor, an AI researcher working specifically on autonomous vehicles, human-robot interaction, machine learning. He hasn't published a bunch of lectures. That's all actually true. So I think what I'm trying to say is, despite the appearance of being just a podcaster, Lex Fridman actually knows what he's talking about when it comes to AI, specifically autonomous vehicles. So his opinion carries a little bit more weight than some of the, for example, morons who publish autonomy leaderboards on the internet, who are all ex-Legacy Automotive, who claim Tesla's dead last.
Right, you followed it from the beginning.
Yeah, it was one of the most incredible robots in the world and continues to be.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting. And it was super exciting when it generalized, became more than a robot on four wheels, but a real-world AI system that perceives the world.
Yeah.
And again, just jumping in here, I promise I won't keep doing this, but as I mentioned at the time, this was a watershed moment. Tesla completely retraining their self-driving vehicles, the FSD, purely on video, no heuristics. They weren't explaining. This is what a corner is. This is what a road line is. This is a traffic light. This is how to read. This is what you do in this situation. And no. They just fed it a bunch of videos of good human drivers, and it learned how to drive very well, based solely on a bunch of training videos, just like how humans learn. This moment blew away the remaining bottlenecks and potential obstacles, the unknown unknowns between now and solving autonomy. It is now simply a matter of time.
And can have potentially different embodiments.
Well, I mean, the really wild thing about the end-to-end training is that it learns to read, it can read signs, but we never taught it to read. So yeah, we never taught it what a car was, or what a person was, or a cyclist. It learned what all those things are, what all the objects are on the road, from video, just from watching videos, just like humans. I mean, humans are photons in, controls out.
Now, this is true and very important. In case you guys don't understand the nerdy stuff, photons, aka the stuff going into our eyes. We look at things, we perceive, and based on the information, the inputs, we then act in the real world. We don't come pre-programmed with a bunch of heuristics. Although, if you want to get pedantic, there are a few things, for example, an innate fear of snakes, that are built into most human beings. But we learn by watching. How do babies learn? They interact with the world. What happens if I touch this, eat this? Oh, that tasted bad. Let me try eating it again, etc. You get it, right? Tesla software. It's real-world artificial intelligence. It learns the same way human beings do. Photons in, action out. This is a very profound moment and an important statement. And there is no other company on the planet, not even close, in terms of real-world AI. AKA Tesla has an unassailable lead.
Like the vast majority of information reaching our brain is from our eyes. And you say, well, what's the output? The output is our motor signals to our sort of fingers and mouth in order to communicate. Photons in, controls out. The same is true of the car.
But by looking at the sequence of images, you've agreed with Ilya Sutskever recently, where he talked about LLM forming a world model, and basically language is a projection of that world model onto the sequence of letters, and you're saying
it finds order in these things. It finds correlative clusters.
In so doing, it's like understanding something deep about the world.
Yeah,
which is like it's beautiful.
That's how our brain works.
Yeah, but it's beautiful.
Photons in, controls out.
Neural nets are able to understand that deep meaning in the world, and so the question is, how far can it go?
So I think the answer is there's no arbitrary limit here. This is just the beginning. We know now that Tesla's end-to-end, pure video-only FSD software has already surpassed the intelligence of the average Tesla short seller. Eventually, it'll become more intelligent than a potato, and then eventually more intelligent than a moron, and eventually reach average intelligence and capability, and then above average, then excellent, then superhuman, then greater than every human ever to exist combined, and there's no end in sight. This is very important. I don't think a lot of people get this. Unlike humans with our meat computers, our meat hardware, there are arbitrary limits to us. We only have so much energy and processing power for now. Shout out to Neuralink, although that's a long way down the track. But the point is, this is not true of AI. Why? Exponentially increasing capabilities of computing, plus you can just throw more compute at the problem. You can't link up a bunch of human brains and make a human smarter, but in theory, you can actually do this with AI. So as I said, there's no end in sight. And this is important because once Tesla solves autonomy to human level capability and safety, it's not going to stop there. It's going to get better and better and better over time. And eventually it'll be 5 times, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times safer than human drivers.
And it does seem everybody's excited about LLMs. So in the space of self-supervised learning, in the space of text,
Yeah.
it seems like there's a deep similarity between that and what Tesla Autopilot is doing. Is it to you basically the same? But
They are
different sets of
converging.
data?
They are converging.
I wonder who gets there faster, having a deep understanding of the world, or they just will naturally converge.
They're both headed towards AGI. The Tesla approach is much more compute efficient. It had to be because we were constrained on this. We only have 100 watts and an int8 computer, 144 trillion operations per second, which sounds like a lot, but is kind of small potatoes these days at int8. But it's understanding the world at int8. It's only 256 values.
But there, the path to AGI might have much more significant impact because it's understanding. It'll faster understand the real world than will LLMs, and therefore be able to integrate with the humans in the real world faster.
They're both going to understand the world, but I think Tesla's approach is fundamentally more compute efficient. Mm-hmm. It had to be. There was no choice.
Again, this is true and important. Also, the story of Tesla's life. As I've said a million times, they're an incredibly lean, resourceful, and efficient company. Initially, they had to be. In the case of Tesla's Autopilot, they need to. You can't carry around literal tons of compute in the back of a Tesla. This has forced them an artificial constraint, a necessary constraint, to create extremely efficient, streamlined software. More important than it might seem.
Like our brain is very compute efficient, very, very energy efficient. So think of like what is our brain able to do? There's only about 10 watts of higher brain function, not counting stuff that's just used to control our body. The thinking part of our brain is less than 10 watts. And those 10 watts can still produce a much better novel than a 10 megawatt GPU cluster. So there's a 6 order of magnitude difference there.
So if you can't read between the lines here, over the long term, Tesla's AI, in fact all AI, can become significantly more efficient, meaning you can get more done, more intelligence with less energy consumption, which will eventually be a limiting factor as in energy consumption, also compute. This is also important.
The AI has thus far gotten to where it is via brute force, just throwing massive amounts of compute and massive amounts of power at it. So this is not where it will end up. In general, with any given technology, you first try to make it work and then you make it efficient. So I think we'll find over time that these models get smaller, are able to produce sensible output with far less compute, far less power. Tesla is arguably ahead of the game on that front because we've just been forced to try to understand the world with 100 watts of compute. And there are a bunch of sort of fundamental functions that we kind of forgot to include. So we have to run them in a bunch of things in emulation. We fixed a bunch of those with hardware 4, and then hardware 5 will be even better. But it does appear at this point that the car will be able to drive better than a human, even with hardware 3 and 100 watts of power. And
so if you're an investor, you should probably ignore that statement because Elon didn't just point out that it seems quite likely that Tesla's existing fleet of, call it 5 million vehicles in the future with an over-the-air software update will be able to operate autonomously as robotaxis and print money for customers, owners of Tesla vehicles while they sleep, completely disrupt transportation and make potentially trillions and trillions, literally, by the way, trillions of dollars of revenue over the long term. Plus, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a fake engineer anyway, right?
And really, if we really optimize it, it could be probably less than 50 watts.
What have you learned about developing Optimus, about integrating this kind of real world AI into the space of robotic manipulation, just humanoid robotics? What are some interesting, tiny or big things you've understood?
I was surprised at the fact that we had to develop every part of the robot ourselves, that there were no off-the-shelf motors, electronics, sensors. Like we had to develop everything.
So again, just jumping in here, here's a question. If true, and obviously it is, no reason to lie, if another company were to attempt to compete with Tesla or developing their own humanoid robots, would it not then follow that they too will also need to literally make everything themselves? And if that's true, would it be important for this company to have the world's best engineers and be able to recruit the world's best engineers, especially AI talent? And if that's true, and also it is, but no other company has Elon Musk, and again, survey graduating engineering students, where do you want to work most? It's always either SpaceX or Tesla at number 1, and then 2 every year. How would a company attempting to compete with Tesla on humanoid robots have a hope in hell? I'm just kidding. The answer is they don't.
We couldn't actually find a source of electric motors for any amount of money.
So it's not even just the efficient, inexpensive. It's like anything. There's not a
No.
So the actuators, everything has to be designed from scratch.
We tried hard to find anything that was, because you think of how many electric motors are made in the world. Mm-hmm. There's like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of electric motor designs. None of them were suitable for a humanoid robot. Literally none. So we had to develop our own, design it specifically for what a humanoid robot needs.
How hard was it to design something that can be mass manufactured, could be relatively inexpensive? I mean, if you compare to Boston Dynamics Atlas, it's a very expensive robot.
It is designed to be manufactured in the same way they would make a car. And I think ultimately we can make Optimus for less than the cost of a car. It should be, because if you look at the mass of the robot, it's much smaller, and the car has many actuators in it.
A bit of deductive reasoning here. The same process I went through when estimating how much I personally think it's going to cost Tesla to produce their Optimus humanoid robots in my Tesla valuation model, which, for the record, if you guys haven't got access to, link in the pinned comment, join Patreon at the investor level and above, you can see it. I've got an exact price, a base price for Tesla's Optimus humanoid robot. This is not something that I pulled out of my ass. This is something that I thought about in detail and reasoned much like Elon has here. Although, that being said, there's a lot of extremely intricate stuff required. I'm not talking about a $5,000 robot. Sorry to rain on your parade here. Again, if you want to see the estimates, link in the pinned comment.
The car has more actuators than the robot.
But there's the actuators are kind of interesting on a humanoid robot with the fingers. So Optimus has really nice hands and fingers.
Something that I pointed out when we saw the update. Again, big threshold here is, can Optimus deliver a superhuman hand job? And I wasn't joking when I said this. It's actually the perfect measure of how dexterous, capable, gentle, and fine-tuned the hands are, which is super important in a humanoid robot that needs to be able to manipulate things in the real world. If it's clunky, clumsy, doesn't have that finesse, you're probably going to end up in hospital in the earlier example. So you guys know what I mean. Let's move on.
You know?
Yeah.
And they could do some interesting manipulation.
Has Lex been reading my post on X? I'm just kidding. Of course he hasn't.
Soft touch robotics.
I mean,
maybe he has.
One of the test goals I have is, can it pick up a needle and a thread the needle just by looking?
How far away are we from that? Just by looking.
Maybe a year. Although I go back to, I'm optimistic on time.
So just for fun, let me know in the comments below, how long do you think it will be until we see this demo successfully pulled off, pun intended, by Optimus? Threading a needle just by looking. No one physically needing to move its hands and go, here's how you do it. Just to look, see someone else do it, and then copy. Let me know in the comments below. What's the timeline? Is it going to be a year, 2 years, 10 years, a century? What's your guess?
The work that we're doing in the car will translate to the robot.
Once again, he's right. This is something I described in the past. Tesla effectively being able to, quote, transplant the brain of the vehicle into the humanoid robot. Once again, this really matters. There's no other company that has a fleet of vehicles on roads, millions of them, capable of such real-world AI as Tesla, who can now transplant this in and have transplanted this into the humanoid robot. So again, the question, if a company wanted to compete with Tesla and develop useful, intelligent, capable humanoid robots, how would they catch up to Tesla, let alone exceed them? Something to ponder.
The perception or also the control?
No, the controls are different, but the video in controls out. Mm-hmm. The car is a robot on 4 wheels. The Optimus is a robot with hands and legs.
So you can just,
they're very similar.
So the entire machinery of the learning process, end to end, is just, you just have a different set of controls.
Optimus will figure out how to do things by watching videos.
As the saying goes, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about.
Yeah, it's true.
What's something difficult you're going through that people don't often see?
Trying to feed Uber Lilith.
Now, if you don't know, he's talking about the boss of all bosses in Diablo 4. And for the record, since this podcast was recorded, I'm guessing a few days ago, Elon Musk has since posted a video and proof that he actually beat Uber Lilith. Anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up here. Just wanted to share these insights. It's worth paying attention to not only what Elon has to say about Tesla's own AI, but a third party, an expert in AI, machine learning, and autonomous vehicles, Lex Fridman himself. And I really do encourage you guys and girls to think about the questions I posed in today's video, especially about how would anyone have a chance of catching up to Tesla, not just on the humanoid robot, but also autonomy? Something to ponder. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy. Wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon. And don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.